In recent years, the trade relations between Canada and the United States, two of the closest neighbors and economic partners in the world, have encountered significant turbulence. This once seamless partnership has been rattled by tariffs, harsh rhetoric, and consumer backlash, causing disruptions that are forcing Canada to adapt and rethink its position on the global economic stage. 1. Cracks at the border. Tourism runs out of gas. The first casualty of this growing tension is cross-border tourism. Historically, Canadians flock to U.S. destinations like Florida's beaches, Arizona's golf courses, and shopping malls in Buffalo, New York, while Americans enjoyed spending their holidays in Canada. This mutual flow of tourists was a win-win for both economies. However, in 2025, things took a turn for the worse. According to Statistics Canada, return trips by car plummeted by nearly 37%, while air travel also saw a significant decline of 26%. This sudden downturn in tourism can be attributed to several factors, including the rising tariffs and President Trump's repeated verbal attacks on Canada, with his provocative suggestion that Canada might one day become the 51st U.S. state. In response, Canadians have increasingly opted to spend their money at home or travel internationally rather than venture south to the U.S. For the first time, more Americans visited Canada than Canadians traveled to the U.S., marking a stark reversal in cross-border movement. Border states in the U.S., once accustomed to Canadian dollars flowing into hotels, restaurants, and resorts, now find themselves grappling with the financial fallout of this strained relationship. The situation is a stark reminder of how political and economic tensions can deeply impact the tourism industry. 2. Tariffs in overdrive. 35% levies and no escape routes. While tourism was stalling, the trade relationship between the U.S. and Canada became more adversarial, particularly in the realm of tariffs. On August 1, 2025, President Trump decided to increase tariffs on Canadian imports from 25% to a staggering 35%, citing national security concerns under the USMCA. This justification was rejected by Ottawa, especially since Canada plays a negligible role in U.S. drug trafficking. As if that wasn't enough, an additional 40% tariff was imposed on goods rerouted through third countries, closing loopholes that Canadian exporters had used to sidestep previous tariffs. This escalated tariff war does not just affect Canada, but also U.S. industries. American manufacturers who rely on Canadian materials like steel, aluminum, and auto parts now face inflated production costs. These cost increases are passed on to American consumers, raising prices on everyday products such as cars, homes, and appliances. According to economists, these tariffs could end up costing U.S. households an extra $2,400 annually, all while Canadian businesses bear the brunt of these punitive measures. The boomerang effect of these tariffs is clear. While meant to punish Canada, they are ultimately hurting American consumers as well. 3. Canada's bold pivot away from U.S. dependence. The mounting pressures from the trade war have forced Canada to rethink its economic strategies. Historically, Canada has relied heavily on the U.S. as its primary trading partner, with nearly 80% of its exports flowing south. However, by 2025, Canada is making a bold pivot toward diversifying its trading routes. The ongoing tariff war has prompted Canada to seek new markets, and the results are evident. Between May 2024 and May 2025, exports to the U.S. dropped from 78% to 68%. During this period, Canada significantly increased its gold exports to the UK, up 473%, while energy shipments to Singapore and aluminum exports to Italy surged. This diversification is not merely a temporary fix. It represents a fundamental shift in Canada's economic identity. Canada's merchandise trade deficit, which had stood at $7.6 billion, narrowed to $5.9 billion within a month, thanks to the uptick in gold and mineral exports. However, experts warn that this trend could be short-lived, as much of the shipping activity was rushed ahead of tariff deadlines. Still, this marks a key moment in Canada's economic evolution, as it seeks to reduce its over-reliance on the U.S. market, even though geography and integrated supply chains keep the U.S. as Canada's most practical trading partner. 4. Driving local pride. Buy Canadian and building resilience. While Canada diversifies its trade routes, a domestic movement is gaining momentum. As tensions rise, there has been a strong push for Canadians to buy local. According to recent surveys, 67% of Canadians are now avoiding U.S. goods, even if it means paying higher prices. This consumer-led boycott is reshaping demand and giving Canadian producers a much-needed boost. Businesses are also scrambling to ensure compliance with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, with a growing number of Canadian firms meeting its complex rules of origin. By mid-2025, two-thirds of exports met these requirements, and experts predict this will rise to 90% by the year's end. At the same time, policymakers are working to break down internal trade barriers within Canada. Studies have shown that eliminating these barriers could add an additional $200 billion to Canada's GDP annually, strengthening the domestic economy as it faces the challenges posed by tariffs and global trade tensions. Energy exports remain Canada's strongest asset, with the U.S. still relying heavily on Canadian oil and gas. However, Ottawa is proactively redirecting some of these exports to Europe and Asia to lessen its dependence on the U.S. 5. Politics in the fast lane, pushback, and what's next. Politics has become the ultimate battleground in this trade dispute. Since the collapse of the U.S. Canada trade agreement talks in July 2025, Prime Minister Mark Carney has hardened his stance against the U.S., emphasizing Canada's determination to avoid sacrificing sovereignty for tariff relief. A February 2025 poll showed that 91% of Canadians now favor reducing reliance on the U.S., with a significant portion of the population boycotting U.S. goods and travel. This shift in public sentiment reflects a deeper change in Canada's relationship with its southern neighbor. While Canadians rally behind the Buy Canadian movement, the U.S. continues to adopt a strategy of deliberate unpredictability, using tariffs as a tool to destabilize the trade relationship. The situation is set to intensify with the looming USMCA sunset review in 2026, which threatens to unravel the trade agreement entirely. Verdict: from tariff turmoil to tougher self-reliance. Canada's journey through the turmoil of tariff wars has been a tough one. Tourism has stalled, trade routes have shifted, and costs have risen for consumers on both sides of the border. However, these challenges have sparked a movement toward resilience. Canadian businesses are diversifying exports, USMCA compliance is rising, and consumers are driving a Buy Canadian movement. Even as Canada's political leaders work to dismantle internal barriers, the country is setting its course toward greater economic independence. It's clear that the era of unquestioned partnership with the U.S. is ending, replaced by a more calculated and resilient coexistence. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way.